Okay, Robbie, here we have the Instant Pot and a whole chicken. Real easy. So what we're going to do is, first step, twist to unlock it. Cool thing is it actually locks. You get that badass noise whenever it's locked. Just untwist, remove. Everything should be attached from the package. It's all good. Got our big fat pot. Alright, now I'm going to put the chicken in as I put the phone down. This will be fun. Okay, magically the chicken is in. How'd that happen? It's at this point you can either put the water in or you can put your spices on. Just note that anything that's cooked in the Instant Pot requires a minimum of, I believe it's 1¼ cups of liquid. So in this case, with a chicken that's added spice, or that's having spices added to it, I'm just going to use 1½ cups. I'm going to pour it in now. Blah, blah, blah. Gonna add my spices, salt, and you know, like if you have lots of time, you can put it on, you can really rub it in there. I'm just gonna make sure that extra salt splashes all around the water, like, because this is gonna become my stock anyway. So then I'll just cover it, paprika, blah, 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 blah. Great angles, huh? I'm amazing. I'm gonna put a bunch of paprika on the sides in the water. Just the hell of it, again, flavoring the stock, garlic powder, kind of haphazardly. That's probably seizure-inducing, I'm not even looking at what I'm doing. This is not how I'd normally pull it off, but for the sake of making you a super quick video, that's what we're doing. Okay, so now that we've got our spices, our 1½ cups of liquid, all I'm gonna do is seal her up. You wanna line this arrow up with the arrow down here. Jesus Christ, I'm the worst cameraman in the world. Yeah, you want to line that up with that. You know what I mean, that and that. Makes sense. Twist to lock. You can figure that part out. If you can't, you're the biggest dummy in the world. Okay, all you have to do, for most things, you're just going to be hitting manual. Because manual automatically sets you to high pressure, which is, I believe, 11.5 psi. And that's what you're going to be cooking the vast majority of things at. So all you got to do is hit manual. Now mine is already set for 30 minutes, but all you have to do is use the minus and plus keys at this point. So you press manual, you adjust to the time you want. I want 30 minutes for a 3-pound chicken, and now I just don't touch anything. And after a moment, it's going to magically start. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to start trying to build pressure, but there's a very, 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 very important step. And that's up here. This is the pressure valve, okay? So this teeny little thingy, when it's full of pressure, it'll be popped up. It'll be like tight to the top here. But this is the release valve. So what you want to do is, when it's down here, this is releasing pressure, and this is sealing the pressure. You want to make sure it's sealed, otherwise it'll never actually come to pressure. So just make sure that's sealed, and I'll hit you back up when it starts building pressure and you can see what that's like. Something I forgot to mention is, once you've turned it on, you think, oh, it's 30 minutes. But no, it actually takes, depending on the amount of liquid, between 10 and 20 minutes to actually come to pressure. So like a 30-minute cook time is actually more like a 50-minute to an hour cook time. You also have to let the pressure dissipate, but more on that when it reaches temperature. Okay, so now that it's hissed and spat a little bit, which is just the thing coming to pressure, it took about 10 minutes. The 30 starts and it begins counting down because now it's cooking under pressure and that's when it begins timing. And as you'll notice, oh, you just heard it seal actually, that stopper is up at the top. Now, you would never turn the vent right now, and also keep in mind that if you turn the vent to unseal, steaming hot liquid is going to be pouring out of the top. So like, there's 2 methods for releasing the pressure when the cook is done. One is just letting it naturally release. So at the end of the 30 minutes, I would literally just let it sit 20 more minutes. And most of the pressure will dissipate on its own, and then you can open it. Or if I'm in a hurry and I don't want to let the chicken cook anymore, I would turn the valve and let it release quickly. Now, depending on how much liquid you have, like if you're making chicken and you only have 1½ cups of liquid, that's great. You can just quick vent it and you're done. Game over. But if you were making a soup, a lot of the soup would start spraying out of the top. So like if you have it 3/4 full as opposed to, you know, just like 1/10 full, don't use the quick unseal. That's my advice. Okay, so ignore the noise because my dishwasher's going now. But the 30-minute timer just ended, and so what it does is it beep, beep, beeps, and now it's at 0, 0, 0. And what it'll start to do is counting up, and that's just time since it was cooked. There's still a lot of residual pressure in, so you have two options that I probably talked about earlier. One is to just let it naturally release, and thus it will continue to cook slowly, not at the same pressure, but it'll continue to cook. That takes about 20 minutes. It's dependent on the amount of liquid you had, but basically, if you, like, it'll count up, right? So roughly around 20 minutes, that will naturally fall. So it'll just drop. It's like a loud noise. It'll either be down. I'll show you what I mean when it's done, but, or you can turn the vent. I wouldn't recommend doing this without like oven mitts on or something, but you can turn the vent and quick release the pressure, and you get this steaming volcano, and you can let that go for about 5 minutes. It'll be done, but I'm just gonna let it slow release so that it'll finish cooking, because, like, you know, it says it's a 30-minute cook time, but roughly is 50 or so for a full chicken or something like that. Okay, it's been 17 minutes. It'll probably only take 3 or more to actually finish getting rid of all the pressure and finishing the cook, but I'm hungry, so I want to eat. So I also want to show you. Locked, gonna unseal it. Notice how there's much less pressure now. That means it's almost done. And you're gonna get that huge hit of salt and garlic and all the spices that you put in. Now, when that is up, this is theoretically locked. Although I wouldn't recommend opening it because, again, you have all this pressurized thing. That's what people freak out about when with pressure cookers exploding and whatnot. But when it is finished, come on, I'm gonna have to edit this. Residual pressure. Boom! Money shot. As soon as that's done, we're good to go. Now, a lot of steam is going to come out, so always just pull it away and flip it. Easy. And you'll see all that condensation in there. Voila! One completely cooked chicken. So I pulled out the chicken. Look at how tender it is. Oh my god. It's just flaking off. Oh my god. So hungry. Okay. But what I did was I took the bowl out. It was filled with stock. Fill up my measuring cup. 1.5 cups liquid creates approximately, with chicken juices, it'll create about 3 cups of stock. So I used 1.5 cups of quinoa that I just had prepped in there. And I just pour the stock over it, get it to a boil, throw a lid on, and basically make rice or quinoa or whatever. So once that's done, I've just got my, rice, quinoa going with the stock. It's going to take 10 to 15 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to do my broccoli, just roast it nice and easy in the oven. Easiest time to clean this is damn near right after you finished. And really, in terms of cleaning the lid, this thing is like fully submersible in water. You can just put it right in. I would never ever put the lid in the dishwasher. This rubber gasket can be removed and washed. It retains smells. So if you do something really acidic like beans, like if you make a whole batch of just dry beans, it's going to retain that smell heavily. Like mine smells like chicken and beef right now. And it's one of the complaints that people have about it. But it's a necessary evil. And you can buy replacement rings. I don't really see a point. They're going to retain smells regardless. This is your venting area, which you can remove very easily. And then you can just make sure that it's clean. If it's clogged, it won't properly allow you to vent. Like, it won't seal it when it comes to pressure, and it won't release as needed. So you will want to clean that. I clean it, like, honestly, like every 5 to 10 meals. depending on what I have. If I have something really soupy that I have to quick pressure remove, then I'll wash it more often, but other than that, it's totally fine. You know, it'll have a little residual water. Just bring it over to a sink and drip it in, and honestly, you can let it dry and it's usually fine.